Okay, I'm Naomi Johnson and I'm from TheProfile.Company, and today I'm having a discussion with Tim Hughes from Oracle, who is the UK Business Development Director for the applications here.
Hi, Naomi.
Hi, and Tim, you're a bit of an expert in social selling and have been pushing that message for quite a while. And today I just really wanted to chat with you about the whole concept of social selling, what it is, and really just the importance of having a LinkedIn profile, really reflecting who you are in order to aid the process of social selling.
Yes.
So do you want to just sum up for those who perhaps aren't using social selling or completely aware of what it is, what you define social selling as?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So I see social selling as being two things. It's not really a different way of selling. The concept is that nowadays the buying process has changed.
Yeah.
So when we go and buy things, the first thing that we do is, well, in the past, what we did do is we went to talk to a salesperson. When you went to buy a car, you had to go around and meet lots of salespeople, and you spend all weekends going around and doing that. Now what you do is you go to Google, you search, and you can even configure. And I know people that have actually bought cars over the web. They didn't even talk to the salesperson.
Yeah.
So this is impacting us. We've got all of us, we've got mobile phones, we've got access to information, and quite often our customers can actually know more about our products and services than we do.
Yeah.
And really, social selling is a way that, or as a strategy that I see as a way that we can, as salespeople, react to that buying process and enable us to actually sell more and make our quotas.
By setting ourselves apart.
By setting ourselves apart, yes.
Because at the end of the day, what hasn't changed is that it's people buying people.
Yes.
And it's the ability to build rapport with someone and be their chosen person that they want to do business with over somebody else.
Yes. In many cases, and I'm sure the people that are watching this aren't like that, but in many cases, people don't like salespeople. For me, I actually think sales is a profession just like a doctor or a lawyer or a solicitor, and we have a pride in our own professionalism. And therefore, one of the ways, or what people are doing, is actually avoiding talking to salespeople.
Yeah.
And just as much as we avoid talking to car salespeople, that will work whether you're selling enterprise software or whatever it is. So people go online and they're doing their research. So people need to understand that they need to set themselves apart, but they also need to be found. You know, I get people coming to me saying, you know, one of the things that we do in Oracle is we sell CX or CRM systems.
Yeah.
And I get people coming to me saying, Tim, what's the best CRM system that I can buy? Which is nice as a salesperson that you're actually getting people saying, you know, can I come and buy your product?
Yeah.
And so by using something like LinkedIn, people need to see that as the shop window to the world.
Yeah.
So that's your personal brand. It's your statement to the world about what you're like. And the advice I give to people is don't just be corporate, but people also think about what it is that your friends and family think of you. Are you trustworthy?
Absolutely.
Are you loyal? Are you a good presenter? Are you a speaker? All of those things, not just the fact that you work in a particular department or division.
Yeah, I think this is something really interesting there, because the test of a good LinkedIn profile is, would your mother connect with you?
Yes.
Or would she look at it and go, well, that's your work, dear. I don't need to come near you.
Yes.
Because it could be anyone in your family, friends that maybe know somebody that they actively refer to, or simply, and I had this happen the other day, somebody in my office liked my post, and someone she'd worked with 5 years before saw the post, clicked on my profile, went, I want that, and within 3 days she was a client. And it's that ability, and I do find that people who find me through LinkedIn come pre-sold. They know the reason why they're having the conversation with me.
Yes.
And I don't have to do anything extra, I just have to have a little chat with them, and they go, yeah, I want it. Which is different to... And that's because they know they want it from me. They found my LinkedIn profile. It's what they want.
Well, yes, because if you look at social is a way of and social search is the fact that if you're friends with that person, then immediately you've jumped the first stage of the trust process.
Exactly.
So you're not just sitting across a stranger from the table. Well, if Joan likes Naomi, then Naomi must be a good person.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes back to making sure that you link to people who are trustworthy, and there are spammers and there are people that try and sell you money to get money from Nigerian bank accounts on LinkedIn, and you need to avoid all those people. But it is, that what your LinkedIn profile is what you stand for.
Yeah.
And it's important that you get that right and actually invest time as a salesperson. In your day-to-day activity, you should, when you first get into a sales role, or you need to spend half a day setting up your LinkedIn profile. It is that critical.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really communicating, because it's vital real estate, isn't it?
Yes.
It's part of your personal brand. It's out there. People are finding it. They are connecting with you, and it's taking the best use of it. It's a shop window.
Yeah. So one of the things that I often teach people, I put up 2 profiles and say, right, here we are. So I take them through the buying process, which is, so the first thing that a person does when they go the buying process is they go to Google. Now, in the product of services, an area that I work in, if you put in the details, I actually come up on the first page of Google. The next thing is I say, right, we're going to get a meeting. So the first thing I always do if I have a meeting with somebody, I always research them.
Yeah.
I always look at their LinkedIn profile. I'll also try and find them elsewhere. And I make a view and a judgment on that person based on that LinkedIn profile. Mm-hmm. So what I usually do is I put up 2 profiles, and one is with a competitor of ours, and the person has a particularly good one, and one is an internal person who has a particularly bad profile. And I say, so even before the meeting, we haven't even shortlisted, I actually prefer the competitor. So you could be you're setting yourself in a position that even before you've met the customer and even qualified the opportunity, you've lost.
Yeah.
So the fact that you've had to get up in the morning and drive all the way to Doncaster was a complete waste of time. And it's so critical to make sure that you look interesting, you're engaging, you're what a buyer would actually want.
Exactly.
If I'm going to buy into you as an organisation, because people do buy people, then what is it that person would want to buy into and engage with?
It's not, oh, you're a really cool individual, you've done all these things. The question now is, well, what's in it for me? People want the information so quickly.
Yes.
It's, do you solve the problem I need solving? Tell me quickly.
Yes.
Do you or don't you?
Yes.
Otherwise, I'm moving on.
Yeah. Because there's lots of LinkedIn profiles, and this particular profile has that he's posting stuff around particular vertical information. He's obviously he's writing articles on that, so he's obviously very passionate about it.
Yeah.
And if I was a CFO working in a utilities company, that would be important to me. So he understands. He already has a point of view. So when he comes to see me, I can move away from some of the superficial stuff and actually say, we have this problem around fixed assets, or
I trust you to solve it.
And how would you solve it? And what's your point of view on that? So that's immediately changes the conversation from probably some very high-level discovery to something quite detailed. And from a salesperson, if you can find some of those golden nuggets, that gives you the competitive advantage. You're winning. This is how you can win deals. And selling is a bit like the game of golf, which is, there's only prizes for first. Mm-hmm. Who was it who said that silver medals are for losers? And it's like golf, which is it's only 1 or 2 shots that actually puts you on the leaderboard, and actually having some of this stuff is really competitive advantage that can move you forward to actually win.
Because it's 60% now of a buying decision, and in some cases, as we said, it's 100%, is actually done online. If a sales representative has to be involved in the process,
yes,
we want to know that person is not going to waste our time.
Yes.
We want to know that they actually understand what they're doing. And I often say to people as well, when they're filling in their experience, to make sure they define what industry they were in and what results they got in their past jobs. Because, and I've had this happen where somebody has said, why, he had one of his taglines that said, coaching with the precision of a Michelin star chef.
Okay.
And I said, oh, I didn't know that chefs needed precision, but I've just learned something. And I said, well, why are you saying that? Because no one in your profile does talk about cooking or chef. And he goes, oh, well, 20 years ago, I used to be a Michelin star chef. I said, why is it not on your profile? He says it's too long ago. And no, not really, because that's a major achievement in your life to have achieved that. Few people do. And it's given you the precision for your coaching, and
Yeah.
you bring that into your coaching. You think it's important. So let's put it on and see what happens.
But also, the by putting that comment in, it also created curiosity from yourself. And,
So I want to know more.
and sometimes the key thing is actually not, sometimes less is more. And sometimes it's about getting someone to,
tell me more about yourself.
Tell me more about it. But, can you, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
I mean, I quite often say to people that getting that experience section, you need to be talking about outputs. What is it that, not that you did for the client, but what did the client get out of it? What was the problem that was solved?
Yeah.
And ultimately, you kind of need to try and tie that to a figure, a dollar or pound type figure. And I also say that if your brain isn't hurting, you're kind of probably not thinking about it hard enough.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this guy I was saying was because he had that, he called me 3 weeks later and said that he'd been in the running with a company to be a coach with them. They'd spent 3 months on the decision. They had 3 people that they were waiting to see who'd do, and they said, we're just going to look on their LinkedIn profiles and we'll decide from there.
Oh, wow.
Instantly, he got the job.
Right.
The reason why? They were in the restaurant trade
right.
with an aspiration to be Michelin star. Wow. So you never know when that experience from the past was actually going to set you up. And I think people do want to see, well, where have you been? Do you understand my industry? If we're in catering, do you understand the catering industry? Do you understand the technology industry? Even if it's 20 years ago, you still have an insight into it. And so therefore it becomes very important.
Yes. I think it's important when you go online to actually see who people are connected to, because you do get that, Debbie, or this person. And I think sometimes, yes, people can be a bit free with the connections, but ultimately you must have had a contact with them at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a sales guy ring me up yesterday and said, I see you're connected to so-and-so. It's in a particular account that I want to get into. Can we effect an introduction? And I said, yeah, of course. I actually didn't know the person that particularly well, but my view is if you've connected with me, you asked at the point you connected to me.
You felt like you could.
You asked, in a way, you gave me the right to mean that I can go back to you. Whether because you feel that I'm a Twitter follower or whatever, there's still, I have that right to do that. I mean, I use LinkedIn a lot because you're always looking for that account intelligence. Who are they connected to? Who else is looking at their profile? And when you're looking at, especially around, we work in some very big accounts. You can take some job titles, and there can be 50 or 100 people with the same job title. Even something like financial controller, there can be a lot of those. And so you're trying to get and you're trying to get and understand what's making them tick more than kind of what the strategy that's laid down in the annual accounts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's guiding that prospect through to who's the most appropriate person. Because I know some people are afraid, that the sales inquiry might go to the admin person. But actually, if you do it right, then it will be clear that person's the admin person, and it will lead them through to the person who is qualified to have that conversation with you. Yeah.
So the LinkedIn profile, there's kind of 2 elements to the sales process. One is if we let's take the percentage that people are going online and doing research for 65% of the buying process. So the first point is, as people go on and do that research, how can you get picked up in that research that they actually come to you
and value you?
Because they are, as part of that research, what they're doing is that they're going, they will be going online, they will be looking at Google, they will be consuming a whole load of different assets. Google reckon it's about 12 different assets, that will be YouTube videos, but they will go to influencers. And if you can set yourself as an influencer, you can therefore, in a way, suggest to them, maybe they want to go down a different track. Because by the time they get to the actual salesperson, if you look at the research from Google, they would have made a short list of 2, maybe 3, because some companies say you've got to look at 3 companies. So you've kind of got 2 bites of the cherry. But remember that if you're not on that short list of 2 or 3, then you've obviously missed a sale.
Yeah.
And at that point, the second point is that if there's a short list of 2 or 3, in most cases, if you look at Google research, is that the people actually already know who they want to buy. because generally people are going by brand, and they will have gone to your website and they would have made a informed decision of who they're going to buy from your website.
Yeah.
And any other brand interactions that you may have had them in a nurture program or something like that. So you've kind of got these two things, which is, am I on the shortlist and I'm just making up the numbers, and you need to qualify, and you need to make sure that you're trying to pick these people up early in the research process. So don't necessarily think I've got to have a LinkedIn profile because it's just about I look good for when I go to a meeting.
Yeah. It helps, but yeah, absolutely. And it's adding something to that conversation.
Yes.
And I think there's a education on the product as well, the solutions. When people have a problem and they see that somebody understands that problem,
yes,
the rapport builds.
Yes.
And you can easily take away from one person who's, this is my preferred person,
yes,
but I've got to do 3. You can actually move them over. And one thing I think as well is when you educate the buyer, if you are the first person to say it, you're the only one who does it. Because I had this with accountants. I went to one accountant and said, do you do X, Y, Z? Actually, I think they said to me, I do X, Y, Z. I went, oh, okay, great. Went to the next one, didn't say it. So I said, do you do X, Y, Z? Oh, yeah, of course I do. But I didn't believe him. And it was really interesting when I played back on the ones I went to, like the different wording and back. The one who said, people who told me their thing, I believed them. When I asked them, I didn't. So, and people don't know how to buy generally. So if you can be the one who says, when you're buying such and such, or you need not so blatant as that, consider these things. It's like, oh, if talking about Oracle do that. Does this guy have as a preference for? Do they do that? And there can be. Do you see what I mean? It's
and if you think about, any buyer is in a situation where they have needs and issues. Just the same as when you're buying a car, is it I need to get from A to B. When I wake up in the morning, it starts. I need it to be fairly reliable. I need it to be sporty, or whatever those wants and needs are. And in many cases, if you're looking at your customer or a particular industry, you'll probably have a point of view already what those issues are, and it may be actually doing some more discovery. But there's nothing wrong with making an assumption that you know what they are, and actually go to them and say, by the way, I've got this. What we're finding with our utility customers is that they've got these particular 3 issues. Is this something that you have? By the way, here's a quick, would you be interested in a white paper that talks about those things? So there's ways that you can go to them and engage them and start building up that rapport and that trust.
Without being pushy.
Without being pushy. And most people will, if I've got these problems, I'll go, yeah, okay, right, and I'll look at it and go, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then they come back, and if you've hit that right, they may come back for more, and then you start building up on the trust process. I get a lot of people come from over LinkedIn, and they'll try and connect with me, and then they'll say they've got some WYSIWYG super thing, and it's like, well, who are you? Whereas if you're no different from what we've done through many years in terms of selling, but building up that rapport, building up that trust, and you can do that above the pipe, setting yourself up on a LinkedIn profile, and people will come to you, and you build the trust, and you can start siphoning off opportunities before they get to the competition.
Yeah, it's about adding value, being informative,
yes,
and being yourself.
Correct. Yeah.
And getting that balance.
Yeah.
And it's speaking in that first person voice, isn't it? I believe
yes,
that this is a good solution, and I enjoy helping my clients to
yeah,
do X, Y, Z, and hopefully what you've said hits on what they're looking to buy.
Yes.
And there's so many different parts of the profile that you can do, and it is part of the sales funnel, isn't it?
Yes.
It's leading people through. And sometimes it's the part of the sales funnel that just leads them through to the website to learn everything else, and then they carry on with their journey. Or it could be that final bit where that connection between a salesperson, it happens.
Yes.
Then it happens.
Salespeople, in a way, are guiding salespeople as professionals, should be guiding the buyer through a process that they ultimately will sell them something that's going to meet the things, their business issues. So there's nothing wrong in actually guiding people through that, and that people shouldn't be afraid. We're talking here about professional salespeople, not people who are going to try and scam you or stitch you up. As a professional, if you take someone and you believe that you've got the best accounting system, CRM system in the world, there's nothing wrong with you taking them down that process, showing you how you're going to meet their issues, and then saying, look, we proved that. can we have a partnership?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, brilliant.
Good.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your
Thank
time
you.
today. It's really great to talk to somebody who's an evangelist for social selling, really understands it, done a great amount of work on this. And obviously LinkedIn is a cog in all of that.
Yes.
And a profile is a beacon part of it,
Yes.
because it's such an important piece
Absolutely.
of retail to communicate well in. So thank you very much for
Thank
your time.
you very much.
This is Naomi Johnson of The Profile Company. I really hope you enjoyed that interview with Tim Hughes. I know I certainly enjoyed speaking to him and asking all my questions. Just wanted to say, since then, that was summer 2015 that we recorded that, Tim Hughes has forwarded my new book, What to Put on Your LinkedIn Profile. So if you are curious about what to put on your LinkedIn profile and not sure, just click on the links below. You'll see there you can download a sample of the book, buy the book, or if you want to know more about how we can help you actually to write a really great profile that fits in with the buying cycle of your prospect and within your sales funnel, then do reach out to us. We'd love to have a chat with you, and there's an opportunity to have a free profile review with us as well, which we record so you can hold for later, and we'll give you all our strategies and insights of what you could do on your profile. So this is Naomi Johnson of The Profile Company. I look forward to being in touch with you again soon. Bye!